back. Part 18. C10 rusty and crusty Chevy build. Let's go back in the garage and see what we've got done. Okay, today I'm going to wet sand and buff the bed sides on the truck. I'm not going to worry about anything other than the tops and the bed sides, but to start that process, the first thing I want to do is just put some 3/4 mask tape on the edges so I make sure that I don't sand or buff through on an edge on the clear, and we'll show you how that looks when we get that done. Okay, so what I'm going to use here is just a little bit of detergent soap and just a drop or two in some water, and we'll just use that as a lubricant to sand with, and I'll show you how this works. Okay, I've started there on the back corner, and you can kind of see what it looks like when you're sanding the clear, and I'm going to continue on to the front here. So with this 1000 grit, what we're trying to look for is a flat, matte finish all over with no bubbles or pimples, or I guess you would call them raises in the paint. You can see there's some places that it's not down enough there, and that's the lighter, shinier areas. So I'm going to go back over that again across the top there. I'm just trying to hit it pretty light. There's no sense of taking off a lot of extra clear when it's not needed. It's actually pretty slick, but I want to try to get it as flat and without any pebbly finish in it, like some of the factory paint is. I want it rather slick and shiny and not pebbly looking or grainy looking. here's what we're really looking for. See the little pebbles in that across there? So that needs to come down just a little bit more to get all of that out. And then when we get it down to where it is like it is up at the top, then I'm going to switch over to the 2000 grit, and then we'll go to 3000 and then up to 5000. Alright, that's what we're trying to achieve. Good and flat. Now I'll go back with the finer grit. I'm just going to work my way on up through here on the rest of it. As you can see, these rounded areas, I'm just going to use 1500 grit by hand on there. I don't want to take a chance on cutting into the rolled edge on that. That's where the clear would be the thinnest anyways, is on an edge like that. And it doesn't take much because the corners are all, the rounded areas are always slicker than the flat areas anyway, so it doesn't really require much wet sanding. Okay, that's down to 3000 grit. Now I'm going to put the 5000 grit pad on. Some skip this step, but it just makes the buffing process a whole lot quicker if you go over it with the 5000. And let me show you what that 5000 pad looks like. It's a little different than these other pads I've been using. Okay, this is the final pad. As you can see, it's thicker and it's got like a foam like backing on it. The good thing about these pads is even on a flat surface, you know, it doesn't try to dig in because it's not flat against the disc. You don't have to be as careful with it. Plus, you're not cutting near the amount of material. About all you're doing with this is just basically polishing any minute scratches that's in the finish before you buff it. But it does help as far as the buffing process because it makes it a whole lot quicker. Okay, this is the first time I've ever used 8000 grit, but it actually come in the kit that I got, so I'm going to go over it with that before I buff. Okay, so the next process is buffing. I'm going to dry this off with some air, and we'll buff a section tonight and show you how it looks. Here's what I use to buff with. I have a flex buffer with a 6-inch pad, and I use 3M #1 compound for the first thing. And another thing I always try to do when I start buffing is I get a Tootsie Roll Pop. Just put a few dabs around on the pad. I always try to work a small area, not get too carried away with it so your compound don't dry out on you. You can see the reflection, that's what we're going for. See how it gets cloudier up here? So a little more buffing. Okay, so that's a wrap on the bed. The only thing we like now is the spray on bed liner, tenable bed liner on the floor. Probably wait and do that after I get the bed mounted on the truck. Got the tail lights to put in, the wheel well moldings to go on, and of course the body side moldings, but probably do all that after it's mounted on the truck also. So now it's on to the fenders, doors, and get those all painted, get the inner fenders to paint, and that'll only leave the cab and the hood. And of course the cab's going to be a pretty big undertaking because we do have to paint inside and out on it. So we're moving along. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.